And we are live! What's up, Twitch TV?
Well, technically this is being not shown live, but we are live.
No, actually this is shown live.
Oh,
right now
hello.
live. We are live on Twitch.tv. Wow! Why did you take them off? That was amazingly quick. What's up, guys? Pigskin Pointers. We are talking about the top 5 wide receivers for 2015. That man is now wearing pants. He's Seth Lazier, everybody.
Hello, thank you for being here. I appreciate this. And may I present the co-host, Ryan Phillip Lamb, as well. Did you already make your own introduction?
I did not.
No.
Yeah, this shows you how much he listens to me.
Absolutely. And also, I do want to let you know that I will be wearing this exact same outfit for next week's show.
Well, so will I, actually. It's going to be a traditional thing where we go ahead and wear the same outfit for no particular reason 2 weeks in a row.
Absolutely. So it's, which is why I was really trying to get that wardrobe right up to the last second.
Yes.
But we are talking about wide receivers.
We're talking about wide receivers, folks.
Yes.
Now, the top 15 wide receivers that we're looking at this year, you can't go wrong with any of them. I think that there's a clear cut when you take a look at our list. Very similar. We have pretty much the same 5 to 6 players in those lists.
In fact, I would say that you have the consensus number one guy that both you, me, and pretty much any fantasy expert.
The entire fantasy community agrees, yes.
But then I believe you got number 2 through 8, who you could put in any order, and it would pretty much be a good list.
A good bet. Now, no matter what, you can expect these players that we mention and the honorable mentions afterwards to be gone within the first 2 rounds. So, for the most part, you're pretty much looking at what is your preference, and we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the stories that have been going on with these wide receivers and try to help you figure out what your preference is. So, why don't we go ahead and go to our number 1 overall pick, the number 1 overall pick for pretty much the entire fantasy community. It is Antonio Brown of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, a weaker defense this year for the Steelers is going to equal a lot of reliance on Antonio Brown. What do you think when you're picking Antonio Brown this year?
I think consistency. I don't know the exact numbers, but it might be 32 straight games of 5 catches, 50 yards, which is ungodly. It is something that the NFL has not seen since the days of Paul Hornung, or even not Paul Hornung because he was the running back, since Don Hudson. And he is as good of a choice, number 1. I don't think you go wrong with Antonio Brown. He'll get you points even on his bad games.
Right, absolutely. He's been one of the most consistent producers in the NFL. And last year he was fantastic. Like you said, he did amazing things with the mercurial Ben Roethlisberger. Now, this particular year, there's been a lot of debate about whether or not Ben Roethlisberger is going to be a legit top 10 quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind. I think that especially, like I said, they have a younger defense. So they're going to have to rely on their offense a lot more, and it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Big Ben can be a little bit more consistent than he has in previous years.
Well, he does have the pedigree. He has been in the league long enough to be a savvy vet, to really have his good games. But what I don't like is he is not consistent at all. But that's for another show.
That is for another show when we talk about quarterbacks once again. Let's move right along to my number 2 pick, which is number 3 on your list. It's Dez Bryant. Now, Dez Bryant, there's been a lot of drama around the Cowboys camp regarding his contract. He's threatening to sit out week 1 unless his new contract is reached, yet he still appeared at the mini camps.
Jerry, pay him.
Why don't you pay the guy? I don't get that.
He is going to get you 100 catches, 1,400 yards, 13 to 15 touchdowns. He's had the most touchdowns over the past 4 years than any receiver in the league. So he is a big play guy. I am a fan of his. I do think there's somebody above him, but we'll get to it. But Dez Bryant, he is as good as it gets. Plus, with the loss of DeMarco Murray and no real replacement, they're going to rely on him a bit more if that's even possible.
No, absolutely. It looks like Joseph Randall is going to be first up, at least as far as the mini camps are concerned. That's what it's looked like, that it's going to be Joseph Randall. They're going to get Darren McFadden, some more work during training camp, but that's going to be in 6 weeks from now. So right now, you got Joseph Randall pegged as your number one running back from that squad. You probably want to draft the entire backfield if you're going to draft anyone. And like you said, who is the most dependable receiver in that offense? It's without a doubt Dez Bryant, who can, on his own, put the team on his back and win you fantasy games.
Plus, he plays hurt. He's a guy who rarely, if ever, misses games. He is as tough as it comes. I do love his durability.
Dude is intense.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. He loves the game. He's passionate about it. He wants to be a Cowboy for the rest of his career. You can't go wrong with drafting someone like Dez Bryant. Now, who you have at number 2, I personally have Calvin Johnson, Megatron. I have him ranked a little bit lower. I have him ranked as number 5. But like we said, 2 through to like 6, 7, 8, very interchangeable. So anyways, when we were looking at Megatron, he's looking to transform the wide receiver landscape again in 2015. Part of the reason why, when you take a look at his stats, actually very good stats. He had 71 for over $1,000 in yards and 8 touchdowns. But that's a low year, if you can believe it. He was actually facing a lot of injury woes in the past season. So when you look at Calvin Johnson, you're saying number 2 clear cut?
Well, not this year, because like we said, there's so many solid receiver choices behind Antonio Brown. But like we talked about with the running backs, Calvin Johnson is a generational talent where he is head and shoulders, talent-wise, above everybody else. And if you get him for all 15, 16 games, he's going to have a special year like he's had in previous years. He is the only receiver playing right now who I would say has the potential to have a 2,000-yard season.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And he's flirted with that back in 2012. Now, if he can stay healthy, that's dangerous, especially with there is going to be some attention that's taken away from him thanks to the addition of Golden Tate. We saw a little bit less than we thought we were going to last season, but I think that's something that can be fixed for this particular season.
He also has Matt Stafford's complete trust, and he's a guy who, even if he's triple covered, his catch radius is as good as anybody we've ever seen.
He's a genetic freak. I mean, no offense, but he is amazing. He has all the measures, 6'5", 236 pounds, and he moves like a cheetah.
Yeah, he's a 4.340.
Or a lion.
Or
he's pretty close to a 4.340.
I would actually compare him to a really, really quick snake, like some guy who could get from point A to point B between different obstacles and hit the target.
Like a liquid snake, Metal Gear Solid.
There we go.
Sorry, this is a gaming channel, so we got to throw in some gaming. This is fantasy gaming. That's what it is. Fantasy gaming.
He's not like Mario with the star, just blasting through things. He's like liquid snake going through the little channels, and we got it.
Number 3 on my list, it's Demaryius Thomas. Now, another wide receiver. He's actually he's the exact same. He came into the league the exact same time as Dez Bryant. Also has contract woes. Now, recently, Peyton Manning has even voiced his displeasure over the fact that the Broncos brass won't hand out the number 1 receiver a contract. Now, when you look at Demaryius, we did see a little bit of a funny year last year. The first couple of games did not do all that well, but then he came on so strong.
Yeah, he's a notorious slow starter, but I do really, really love his talent. I've had him a bit lower just because, like we said, it's such a jumbled up position this year. But Dez Bryant is a solid guy. You know he's going to get 100 catches. You know he's going to get 1,200 yards. You know he's going to get double-digit touchdowns. Peyton Manning loves him. I am concerned.
Demaryius even.
Demaryius, yes. What I say?
Dez.
Oh, I meant Lee.
It's the attack of the D's.
Yeah. I love you. You'll
That's a call forward.
That's a call forward. This will be we're psychic here.
Anyways, we're being psychic. I have a premonition that things are going to get awkward, more awkward than this, in the next episode that you watch. that has us. Anyway, so as you were saying, over 100 receptions, 1,600 yards.
My concern is Peyton did take a nosedive at the end of the last season and start to show his age. So,
and what a dumpster fire that game against the Colts was.
Oh, just completely terrible.
Did you hear that they put up a banner for being a AFC finalist?
Yeah, well,
what the hell, man? That's like everybody gets a trophy. That's ridiculous. You guys have actually won championships. Just enjoy your championships. That's what a pennant's for. That's what you put a banner up for. You don't put it for like, hey, guess what? We made the playoffs. Like, what the hell, man?
Well, every summer, my mom gets me these like on sale T-shirts for like the Packers division winning things. Like, I think during the running back show, I was wearing the Packers three-time NFC North winners, and they won another one in additional to that. But going
everybody gets a trophy. Seriously, what a society we're in. Anyways, going back to Demaryius.
Yes, going back to Demaryius, he is starting to hit his prime, and he is a talent that definitely could carry the load for your team,
for your fantasy team, without doubt. And then when we look at the next player, he's number 4 on both of our lists, it's Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I did have the NFC East preview show this past Tuesday, which should be up on YouTube very shortly once we get past the whole computer snafu. Odell Beckham Jr., I talked about him quite a bit, and he's looking to silence the idea of a sophomore slump. And really, when you think of the Giants, I think that their success in this particular year comes and goes with how successful Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be.
Odell, best hands I've ever seen in the NFL.
Without a doubt.
I mean, they're going back to Fred Biletnikoff using the stick. I don't know how Odell does it, but he's as good as it gets catching the ball. And he doesn't just make the spectacular plays. The numbers you're seeing on the screen right over there is, 91 catches, 1,305 yards, 12 touchdowns. And that's in 13 games.
That's in 12 games.
12 games.
12 games. A touchdown a game and over 100 yards a game. That is insane. 91 receptions. That is crazy. Is it possible that he's going to be able to keep that up despite the fact that we have a returning Victor Cruz to the Giants squad?
Ruben Randall,
well.
He proved to be a solid number 2 last year because he had like 70 catches for 800 yards.
I think that was really out of necessity. They were a dumpster fire team for most of the season.
Other than Odell Beckham, they had nothing.
Yeah, Larry Donnell, which was like a trash heap tight end, but good for a pickup on weeks.
I think I personally played offensive guard for them for weeks 4 for 7.
Wow, you didn't tell me about that. That would explain part of the reason why they lost 7 games straight.
Yeah, well, that was the best option for them.
Wow. Anyways,
but Odell is just as good of a talent as there is in the NFL at that position. There's concerns for Victor Cruz coming back, but even with Victor Cruz coming back, I could bank on Odell getting 80 catches for 1,200 yards and double-digit touchdowns.
Yes, without a doubt. So that's without a doubt a solid pickup. Getting him, you're going to see him going in the first round quite often in a lot of drafts. I personally don't see that much regression for him. I don't necessarily view the Giants as a team that is going to do all that much better from last year. I see them as a 500 team, if you can picture that. They actually have a very difficult schedule, but Odell Beckham is going to get his.
But I also don't see him. He's not going to be one of those prima donnas, that you hear. He's not going to thank his hands for a good touchdown. If you know who I'm referring to, Mr. First-round pick for the Eagles. They had a catch against the Packers on a 4th and 27. Fred X. Do you remember? Is any of this coming back to you?
No, I block out a lot of my Eagles memories. It's a difficult life I lead, being an Eagles fan.
Yes, but talking about the Giant, Odell Beckham. He's really got his feet firmly on the ground, and even in the big media market, even with the spectacular catch, he's got a solid work ethic, and You do also have to worry about durability since he
Yeah.
was hurt for the first 3 games.
Absolutely.
So keep that in the back of the mind.
And he's actually had multiple hamstring issues this year as well. Both hamstrings, though, so it's not necessarily the same one. Well, it is the same one, but then he's also had both legs, both hamstrings, have had some issues. So do keep that in mind for sure. Now, I actually messed it up. I was saying that Dez Bryant was your number 3. He's actually your number 5. Number 3 on your list, Jordy Nelson. Now, that makes a lot of sense. Now, this isn't just a homer pick, although I do make fun of him for being a Packers fan.
That's like that's like a gazelle making fun of the lion. So
well, if I can dance out of the way and not get killed. Hey, Jordy Nelson is a legit wide receiver, wide receiving threat. He's coming back from surgery, however, so Jordy Nelson has been held out of the OTAs as well as minicamp. Now, do you think that that's going to hold him back at all?
No, it's OTAs, it's minicamps. Yeah, if it's August, we'll worry, but it's June.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but Jordy, he's one of those sneaky guys. I mean, well, let's face it.
Why does he not get more credit? That was what I wonder, because he has been Mr. Dependable every single season he's been in the league.
Oh, ever since the Super Bowl where he had 156 yards.
So say from 2011 on.
2011 on. But the thing about Jordy is, sorry, we had a little crawling.
Producer Jenny decided to
make her way underneath the table instead of just behind the camera.
Yeah, we're going to mention that on camera.
Yeah.
That's her laughing.
I want to rock the camera.
But a couple things why Jordy isn't more noticed. First of all, he's not the most famous person, or even the most second famous person on his team. You got Aaron Rodgers and Clay Matthews hogging the spotlight. Green Bay, far and away the smallest media market in the NFL. And
one of the best run organizations in the league by far. And why is that? Because it's owned by the people.
Absolutely. They are not profit motivated.
No, not at all. They have such a fantastic fan base, obviously super dedicated, but it also shows in, when you go to like a tailgate party there, or, just general passion and love of the team. It's so legit, it's run so well.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you to the Packers bar this year. I'm gonna watch a game there.
Absolutely. Well, it depends, because we might be in talks with we are in talks with some bars, possibly running our fantasy show live from the bars. So it really depends on what happens with that. But if we have some free time, actually we'll do a special. He's going to take me to the Packers bar. I'm going to take him to the Eagles bar in Seattle, so it's going to be pretty fun that way.
Oh, definitely.
Anyways, back to Jordy.
Jordy Nelson.
No.
And also one of the, I don't really like bringing up this point, but his appearance is not really he doesn't really look like a superstar receiver for obvious reasons. I'm not going to...
Okay, look at that image down there. That's a superstar smile right there.
I mean, yeah, he's...
Megawatt smile. Sure, maybe he's got a little bit of the baby cheeks coming up.
Yeah, but he's just not quite... I mean, even cornerbacks were... I read this whole article in Sports Illustrated about him. Well, cornerbacks were like, oh, he doesn't look like that good of a receiver, but he runs a legit 4.3.
Yep.
He's one of those guys who's a long strider.
Consistent long strider.
Yeah.
You don't expect the speed that he produces. But not only that, like you were speaking about routes, his route tree is so flawless.
Yeah, and he is probably as good as it gets yard after the catch. He can make plays. Last year he beat Darrelle Revis on a slant and had a nice 60-yard touchdown.
And you don't see Revis getting beaten all that much, but
no, not at all.
Definitely that is that's part of the reason why Jordy Nelson is such a solid pick.
Yeah.
You get him, say, like in the second round, you're laughing.
Yeah,
he's legit
happy.
wide receiver one.
You're good solid, and Aaron Rodgers has his complete trust. So.
Yeah, exactly. So how could you not? Now, why don't we just talk a little bit about some of the honorable mentions? Now, some people who we didn't feature on this top 5 show is AJ Green, who actually you and I both love him.
Yes.
Like, he is phenomenal. I had trouble actually not putting him up in the top 5. Just because he's fantastic. The only detractor is
Andy Dalton. Yes. AJ, though, he's a guy, he's also coming off injuries. But when healthy, even in games that he's less than stellar, less than full health, he'll get catches and he'll get yards. I would rank him as one of the top 2 red zone targets in the league, up there with Rob Gronkowski, Calvin Johnson. AJ Green is probably the best at catching. When they say catching the ball at the highest point, AJ is as good as anybody who's ever played doing that.
It's the tip point.
Yeah.
So AJ Green, definitely one of the best. Now, who else would you have put in this sort of like top 9 ranking, that sort of thing?
Julio Jones had
Julio
a
Jones,
monster year last year.
Yeah.
And he had almost 1,600 yards, almost 100 yards a game.
And that's with injury woes, because he was out for a couple of
Yeah.
games. He was out last season for the majority as well, and that actually showed the holes in the Falcons' offense, because then they were relying on Roddy White, who also got injured a lot, and that's obviously going to be an issue. Yet Julio Jones, no matter when he's on the field, he's always a consistent threat. Yeah.
I also like T.Y. Hilton.
T.Y. Hilton should be on this list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, he could definitely be in the conversation, I would say. Yeah.
The minuses on T.Y. is they got in Andre Johnson now. They drafted a receiver.
Philip Dorsett.
Philip Dorsett. So really they're giving more weapons for Andrew Luck, but really T.Y. could take a hit just because there's so many more options for Andrew.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But he does have the talent. He's one of the best speedsters in the league, and I am a fan of his. I just realized we do have a lot of time.
No, we don't actually. We're about to end the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to 3. Anyways, Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman. Now, okay, I might differ with you on this particular pick, but why do you think Julian Edelman deserves to be in the top 10?
Well, I would say he wouldn't be your number 1 receiver, but he'd be a solid number 2 just because he's Tom Brady's go-to guy.
Yeah.
Tom's not going to be there for the first couple of games, but the Patriots always have a good slot receiver who will gather some catches, gather some yards, gather some touchdowns, and Julian's the guy for the Patriots this year.
That's it's definitely good. When it comes to the Patriots offense, it's just so interchangeable, and I feel that Belichick likes to ride a hot hand quite a bit, so you'll see scheme change quite a bit depending on what team they're facing. So maybe one week you'll have the running backs being really the focus, and then another week you're going to have the wide receivers be more of the lion's share of the points. So that's probably the reason why I kind of tend to stay away from the Patriots. It's hard to kind of predict what's going on with them. But let's talk about Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb, also a part of your Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
Sorry. He is an amazing wide receiver. It's amazing just how interchangeable. You could consider Jordy Nelson to be 1 and Randall Cobb to be 1A, because they're both going to get their production in such a prolific offense as the Green Bay Packers.
Yards after catch. Also, Randall is really, really, really intelligent football-wise. You got a bunch of players who you think, they say, oh, he's got the football smarts. Randall played quarterback at Kentucky. He's a guy who could make people miss. He gets the yards after catch. There is some concern about him slowing down towards the end of the season like he did last year, but he's a guy who you could really lean on as a first receiver, and he's very consistent.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk quickly about the rookie receivers. You've got Kelvin Benjamin, who's going to be coming into his second year. You've got Mike Evans. You've got Jordan Matthews. Who of those 3 would you prefer to get on your team?
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. Now, why is that?
With 0 talent at quarterback in Tampa Bay last year, he did well. He had monster games. He was fairly consistent after a bit of a slow start, but you can attribute that to him being a rookie. And he's got great size. He's 6'5", 230, and he's the reason why Manziel was a first-round pick.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He definitely covered a lot of the holes from that Texas A&M squad. He was the safety gap. Manziel, oh boy, let's hope he does a little bit better this year.
Yeah.
I personally agree. Mike Evans would be the player that I would want on my team. In fact, I have him as a keeper. Jordan Matthews is going to be fantastic. You can probably get him in the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
And then you've got Kelvin Benjamin, who he came in 5 pounds overweight, and he's been having some hamstring issues. So
Yeah, but
it's going to be.
It's also one of those things. It's training camp.
It is. It's not even training camp.
Unless,
it's OTAs.
Unless they're out for the season, you don't worry about OTAs. You know, preseason is where you start paying attention to the little nagging injuries.
Absolutely, for sure. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to talk a little bit about our sponsor, and they are Echo Nebraska. Now, you can check them out at echonebraska.com. They currently have their brand new album, Send the Ships, on iTunes, Bandcamp, and Spotify.
Yeah, they're a wonderful band. They got some performances on YouTube. You just check them out. I really enjoy their stuff. Hey Allison is their single. Definitely check that out. The music video is wonderful, and I got nothing but great things to say about them.
Yeah, pretty soon I'm going to be in talks with Devin, the lead singer of Echo Nebraska, to actually join us on the show via Skype, and we're hoping to get some of their music actually live on the show for you guys, so that's going to be great. Definitely go to echonebraska.com when you get a chance.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Awesome.
Only quality here.
Only quality here at Pigskin Pointer. So next Tuesday, we're going to be previewing the AFC East. So that's going. Well, actually, I'm going to be previewing the AFC East. The Tuesday shows are my show. Unfortunately, I don't get this guy.
No, I got a day job, so I got to get going.
Yeah, I've got a job.
Yeah, ish. So
It's not my fault. It's the government's fault.
Yeah.
I can't.
the government, please keep this guy in the country. We need.
I am in the country.
Yeah, but
Legally.
yeah, just let him work. Let him be a productive person.
I can't wait to contribute to your taxes.
Yes.
Anyhow, this has been the top 5 wide receiver show for Pigskin Point. I thought that went well.
Yeah, for a live show, we did it.
For a live show, we did it.
Yes, I'm excited, and let's do it. Let's do it again next week.
Let's do it again next week. What should we do next week?
We could do just tight ends. We could just do defenses. We could just do kickers. Well, why don't we just combine them all?
Crazy idea! That's what you're going to see next week. Definitely. We're going to do DST, tight ends, and kickers. Maybe not in that order. We'll see. We might be wearing the same clothes.
Possibly.
We'll see what happens.
And yeah, I'm just wondering, we might have the same picks for the top tight end. We might have the same picks for the
Spoiler!
top defense. Who knows?
Spoiler alert!
Or they could be completely different.
Oh, and Bruce Willis is a ghost in The Sixth Sense. Spoilers.
Great.
For Seth Lazier, producer Jenny,
Ryan Phillip Lamb, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
thank you, Dalai Lama, for your support.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan.
This has been Pigskin Pointers. Thanks a lot, guys.
Take care. See you next week.